Dear seniors, class of 2020, at this point my affection for you, never in doubt, is sealed by the COVID-19 virus lockdown. Several of you have spent a lot of time with me in classes, at March for Life, on field trips, sports, etc. As an historian, my task is to make rhyme and reason out of historic events, and we have lived through this COVID-19 outbreak together, then separately, and soon at graduation, together again. As difficult as things have been, the human spirit has a tendency to release and erase bad memories over time. That is necessary because otherwise we would look backward, not forward, and even worse, we would never look at today. I think when you are suited up for graduation, you'll be grinning ear to ear. Yes, there are disappointments. Let's not pretend otherwise. But you have made it through the obstacles. There's a lot of pent-up emotion. Don't be surprised if you see grown men crying. In many cases, you will be so distracted by the moment, your classmates and your family, that you won't remember much about it. So I say goodbye to you today. My topic is the opportunity costs of hugging. In the spring of 2020, to hug or not to hug, that is the question. Of course, as we have been learning this semester, there is an opportunity cost for everything. During my daughter's first semester of college, we drove up to Michigan for her Thanksgiving break. She missed us, we missed her. Those might have been the most important hugs of the last 2 years, but they came at great cost, and that made them even better. During the virus lockdown, the three of us have hugged no one but ourselves. We hug every day. Sometimes we just stay hugging for quite a while. I know that some families have socially distanced themselves from one another, often for good reasons. But we knew that if one of us got the virus, the other two would almost certainly get it too. That was a calculated risk, something that no one talks about right now, but should. Driving a vehicle to the grocery store is a calculated risk for an accident or getting a communicable disease or all kinds of other things. Everything is a calculated risk and always has been. Mrs. Griffin, my daughter and I know without much discussion that family affection based on what we know is worth the risk of getting sick. That's a risk we're willing to take. Guess what it means to be grown up? It means you're free to take risks, to gain and to lose. You can and will be foolish, at least sometimes. Most St. Bernard graduates are surprised at how foolish some of their college classmates are. For that matter, the world is full of foolish grown-ups wrapping their cars around trees, going to jail, despairing over romantic rejection by someone not so great, and wasting all kinds of opportunities. If most people were good gamblers, Las Vegas would be out of business. So, what I'm telling you is that making calculated risks is not just part of the game, it is the game. But we are risk averse. Most of us prefer the things we know to the things we don't. Nonetheless, learning to take calculated risks is a major key to happiness. Otherwise, you might as well come back to St. Bernard next fall and have a 5th year. So, what are some guidelines for your life of taking risks? Number 1, there ain't no free lunch. That is true, very true. There is an opportunity cost for everything. That is what opportunity cost is. 2, the Pareto principle is a constant. It is sometimes called the law of the precious few. The general rule is 20% of the people doing something produce 80% of what is gained. And that is true in sales, sports, fundraising, poker, incomes, industrial production, modeling, engineering, skydiving, nursing, law, medicine, trucking, software development, chess, video games, company profits, and everything else. People rightly worry about income inequality, but the amazing thing is that more people are not poor in America. But that's because there's so many ways to make a buck. You can make a good living, as you know, diving for golf balls. You can make a good living designing video games or designing software that does something that nobody's ever done before. You can make a good living with a cleaning service depending on how you price it and your types of customers. For this reason, you need to explore things you'd like to be good at, perhaps some things that might be long shots. If you're not in the top 20% of whatever it is, you will not likely stay there very long, and you probably shouldn't stay there very long. That doesn't mean you're a loser. That simply means the opportunity costs of being mediocre at something are very high. That is also true in subfields. Pediatricians and ER surgeons both go to medical school, but the skill set and temperament to do either are radically different. Number 3, become competent at something. It does not have to pay well, but competence leads to confidence. Wherever you go, figure out the systems in place that make things work. Vigorously pursue valuable experience. Over time, you will develop a valuable skill set. Number 4, clean up your mess. It is hard to function when you are surrounded with mess, especially the mess of your own making, papers, mail, bills, junk in your vehicle, etc. Also, people you supervise, whether employees or children, will be no neater than you. If you wait for someone to clean up your mess, you are giving up opportunities and options without knowing it. If you don't show self-respect, you will be surrounded by people who have none, and they will impair your judgment. I will admit that cleaning up my own mess is my biggest weekly challenge, but it has to be done. Number 5, be careful where you put your eyes. Biologically, your eyes are extremely expensive. They're very keen and versatile, and they use a huge portion of both your neurosystem and your blood. That is why you are often exhausted if you've been thinking and reading all day long, especially in front of a computer. Don't waste your eyes looking at things you're not supposed to have. It's a total waste. Keep your eyes on things you're supposed to be doing. Number 6, the law of unintended consequences cannot be repealed. If you steal from your employer and don't get caught, don't be surprised if later you catch your best employee stealing from you. Number 7, experts are often wrong. My great-grandfather, grandfather, uncle, and 2 first cousins were or are medical doctors, and very good ones. But nobody knows everything. The smartest people in the world in recent months have let a deadly virus spread, though they knew in January or even December that it would spread person to person. The world's smartest people predicted millions of deaths, told us that masks don't matter. Then they told us masks do matter. The world's smartest people told us that we need millions of ventilators. The world's smartest people told us we should not leave our homes until there's a vaccine, though the social, psychological, and economic consequences of such a year-long lockdown, unemployment, mental illness, domestic violence, addictions, suicide, and despair would likely be worse than the spread of the coronavirus. Just as Ivan Denisovich Shukov tells us you cannot get out of the gulag by relying on the doctors, you won't stay out of trouble in life by relying uncritically on experts. Most experts know a lot about one specialty at the expense of other knowledge. Experts pay a high opportunity cost for being experts. Their advice is often out of scope with the problem that actually needs to be solved. Every trial lawyer knows that it's seldom hard to find an expert to give a significantly different interpretation of the same facts. The wisest people I know listen to experts, but recognize the limits of expert opinion. So again, there's nothing wrong with experts. There are lots of people in America who know lots of things that I will never know. And if I'm going to go get brain surgery, I'm going to go see a brain surgeon. I'm not going to go see a podiatrist. So we understand that. But in so many things, we have uncertainty, and you're going to have to look at expert opinions, and you're going to have to figure out which experts you trust, and in some cases, you'll trust one opinion and another opinion. Number 8. Henny Penny, also known as Chicken Little, was wrong about the sky falling, but she still has millions of followers. When people are wrong, they often double down on their mistakes and yell louder. Look at how people who are wrong about this virus, and almost everyone was, have not issued many apologies. When no one knows, the most dangerous people are the ones who pretend they do know. Consult with people who want the best for you. Don't trust anyone who says we need to suspend the Constitution, in particular the First, Second, Fifth, and 14th Amendments, because of science and safety. 9. No one has ever invented a better economic theory than Adam Smith's invisible hand. Simply put, the invisible hand determines the prices of most things based upon thousands of little negotiations and other pieces of imperfect information. A 2010 Ford F-150 is worth what the buyers will pay, not the $50,000 I might want for it. The Venezuelan bolivar is not worth what the Venezuelan government says it's worth, but what people around the world are willing to exchange for it. If you can learn using imperfect information to predict and anticipate the value of some things, from jewelry to grapes, you will become successful in at least some of your calculated risks. Be a student of imperfect information in at least one field and use that knowledge to your advantage as you expand into other fields. So, at graduation, unless you want to pick up your diploma and disappear with barely a word, you're going to have to calculate the opportunity costs of hugging. Shaking hands is out for a little while. It is a formality without overt affection. Therefore, it has more risks than rewards at this time. There will be lots of people, and some will want to hug you, but you won't want to hug them. Some you might want to hug, but you don't want to push it. And there are a few people that you won't allow to depart without giving them a good, strong hug. In this season of COVID-19, on your graduation day, the opportunity costs of hugging will be your first calculated risks. I have great confidence in you. I am proud of you. I am honored to be your teacher. I love you and I will miss you. I hope to see you often, but if we do not meet again on this side of the Jordan River, I hope we meet on the other side. Auf Wiedersehen. God bless you all.